What's up and welcome back, and in today's video we're going to talk about how I kit bashed this building to be very close to a prototype on the Model Railroad show. So yeah, kit bashing, it's one of those skills I feel like as a model railroader, if you want to create something that looks something other than like the stock kits that you get, or if you want to create something that's on the railroad close to the prototype that you're modeling, you're going to need to figure out how to get there. And scratch building, especially starting out, is not for everybody. I've got a few structures that I've scratch built or kit bashed enough that I would call a scratch build. This is not necessarily one of them. All right, so off the bat, this is the National Ceramic, company. This was on Southern Street in Trenton. Obviously, a lot of stuff for me starts from photos. I'll put this photo up of the original building here. I actually colorized this one using Photoshop. And this is the building in 1959, so maybe just a handful of years after I'm modeling. So that was, close enough for me. So Southern Street in Trenton, National Ceramic. This building had been there for, I think, since around the turn of the century, actually. It was a bunch of different pottery and ceramic factories. Over the years, it's changed footprint. It was, I think, one of the buildings burned down. So on that site, there's a lot of ceramic and pottery history here in Trenton. One of the things I did is I'll put this up here too. This is a fire map of the area. These are invaluable if you're a model railroader. And you can see it shows me the building and the footprint. Ironically, I found this map a little bit after I had the building together. So my footprint is a little bit different than what's going on here, but it still fits my layout really well. So what did I use to put this building together? Well, this is two Walthers module kits that I found at, I think, one on eBay and one at a train show. And they are out of production. But again, even though it's out of production, doesn't mean you can't find it on eBay or the train show. So I've had two Walthers module kits, which is kind of the reason the building has this footprint to it, because I had to get it together with the pieces that I had, and these are the pieces that I had. And aside from the Walthers module kits on the back, this is a office building from a DPM transfer station that I cut up, and that's on the back as well. I also have some DPM modular kit walls that are built this little piece here in the back. And on this side, I have some loading docks, which is basically one Blair line loading dock kit. If I find this baby on Amazon, I'll put a link down there. And that's one of those kits put together and then cut into two kits. And as you can see, where the one loading dock wasn't high enough, I did some concrete footings out of some small styrene, painted them concrete. So that's the basis of the building. The building is then, I prime it in a light gray, as I do all my buildings, and then I brush over that with whatever brick color I feel desired at that time. I thought this one came out pretty well. And then I give it an India ink wash so that you can see the detail of some of the bricks, and then weather with chalk. All right. So some of the details there. The roof I actually had to make out of a few different kit buildings that were all part of the Walthers kit. But it was this in no way was shaped this. This is three different sections of roof. So this is one section, and then a smaller section, and then a third section over on this side. And I originally had the roof painted like a flat black, which, if you know N scale and you're looking at roofs all the time, not exciting. So essentially what I did is I brushed it with matte medium, and then I coated it with a dark gray, or almost like a black, even though it doesn't turn out black, a black tile grout. I use tile grout a lot, and this is a tile grout roof. I'll give you a close-up of what this roof looks like. And then when it wasn't black enough for me, it was basically like this super light gray, and it still looked kind of new. I hit it with some black pan pastels and gave it a little color variation. And now it looks, I think it looks pretty good. It looks like a roof should look almost. And then I did some hand painting and some labeling over here for the National Ceramic Company. The hand painting is basically this white stripe along the top of the building, which you can see in my reference photo is right there. Hard to tell in any of the photos if the National Ceramic lettering on the top was just brick that was not painted or if it was painted on top. I really, looking at the photos, cannot tell. Not exactly to the prototype, but honestly, really, really close. Important thing for me is this is the side that's going to face the end of my layout. So I wanted to have the loading docks. I needed this door on the second story and some stairs going down there. I found those stairs at a train show, and the landing that's up top, I scratch built that landing. And then the railing that's there, I took from a railing from another kit. I think it was the Walton Brothers lumber kit. That's how I built those stairs and landing. That railing honestly could be a little bit higher, but necessarily after the glue's dry, it's too late to change. But it looks pretty decent. And then the sloped roof piece I thought came in pretty good, so I wanted to get all of that together as is. Big challenge I had with this building is that because it was an out of production kit, it would have been at ground level. And I needed this at like loading dock or rail level loading height. That was, to use it as I wanted to use it, I had to figure out how to get it there. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can do it with styrene. You can do it with, obviously you could find the foundation kit. That would probably be the best way to do it. But out of necessity, I found a way to do this that I will probably always use if I find myself in this situation. And in fact, if I flip this building over, you can see that I've got N scale cork roadbed here. And I doubled it up, and that got me really close to the height that a foundation kit would have gotten me. And I basically made the foundation out of this N-scale cork roadbed. And as you know, if you paint cork roadbed, it really doesn't look great. There was a seam to where I glued. So then the next thing I did was I coated it with some Smooth It. So the Smooth It is a kit that Woodland Scenics makes that you can make roads out of. So I mixed up some Smooth It. I did put a little, I usually put some type of paint in there. I think like a tan paint in there. I mixed up some Smooth It, and then I started covering up the cork with the Smooth It, which came out awesome. And it was a little rough. So as I started to sand the Smooth It, what I noticed is pieces of it started to flake off. And initially I was like, man, this is not going to work. But then, I stayed with it. And as you paint it, it looked really good. And then I hit some of those pieces that started to flake off with like a light watered down gray paint wash. It really looked like the concrete was just, starting to break down like an old building would, especially in this area of Trenton. That is my building foundation. I thought that came out really, really good. This is going to be part of, I don't want to say part of a complex, but this is as far as I got the building for now. When it gets on the railroad, I'm going to have some tanks here, and I'll show you eventually the finished state of it. Some tanks here for some items that they needed to build to make the ceramics. Yeah, again, this is a building like this is the reason I save pieces from kits. And I have pieces of kits in boxes. I have pieces of kits hanging out, here in drawers. It's I've got pieces of kits everywhere. part of keeping all that stuff is what allowed me to build this kit here as it is. I mean, DPM kits in here, Walthers module kits in here. Yeah, lots of stuff. And just picking up things at trade shows that I may or may not have a use for at the time, such as this labeling, these burnish off. These are like the burnish off letters that I have up top here. So that is, didn't know what I wanted to do with red letters at the time, but they worked out really, really well. And I think that's about it for the building. All right. Also inside that you can't see that I don't have fixed is sometimes what I'll do is I will print out the inside of a factory building. It's not going to really translate to a camera unless you're kind of here looking at it, and I'll put those on the inside of the building so it looks like the building has an interior. Neat little trick. And one thing, oddly enough, when you look at this picture, when you make this loading dock, this front loading dock here, level with the door and you give it the footings and everything, it is oddly high to scale or anything else. But then when you look at the prototype picture, it's the same thing. I mean, there is a car parked in front of this loading dock and it is about as high as the windows on this garage part over here. So it's pretty close. I assume they needed a ramp or something to get in there. I also have some stairs in there going to and from the loading docks, just as a, more of a detail. And when it's all scenic up and it's on the railroad, I think it's going to look good. Let me know. I mean, this is one of many probably kit bash videos I'll be doing. Some kits I do put together like straight up like the kit because I just like those buildings. But there are some buildings on this model railroad that I have definitely cobbled together from either different kits or pieces of styrene and stuff that I've just had laying around that I chose not to throw out. So definitely a smart thing to do. Let me know. Let me know if you're more into scratch building or kit bashing. I think kit bashing is an essential skill that you need to learn, especially depending upon the scale you're in, especially in N scale where buildings can be limited, and especially if you're trying to recreate stuff. Again, I'm not exactly to the prototype, but if I put this picture up on my layout and I have this building up above it, you're gonna know that that's the building, or right away. I mean, my cousin was like, "Oh, that building's over on Southern Street. I know that building." So it's close enough, especially from the side, that people are going to see as the focal point of the railroad. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Even if you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and ring the little bell there so you know when I upload new content. And I'll catch you in the next one. All right, later.